Cotard Syndrome, also known as dead man syndrome, is a rare psychiatric disease, characterized by the belief that you are dead, that you have lost all vital organs, and all your blood, and even your soul. It takes its name from the French neurologist who first described it, Jules Cotard, who treated a woman who claimed to be already dead. She was convinced that she was damned for eternity, forced to remain trapped forever in her body. People with Cotard syndrome believe they are dead, and even smell her rotting flesh. He denies that he has some organs. He is therefore convinced that he is immortal, and to prove it he can attempt suicide, or let himself die, because she thinks she no longer needs to feed. What are the symptoms? In the first phase, a severe depressive disorder occurs, accompanied by psychotic events, hypochondria, and depressed mood. In the second phase, the patient claims to have lost blood and some organs. He shows an absence of reaction to external stimuli, refuses food, and no longer feels emotions. He feels empty, and begins to develop ideas of possessions, of damnation, and mortality. He begins to believe that those next to him are also dead. In the third phase, the disorder becomes chronic, and the hallucinations cause the patient to completely lose the sense of reality. He begins to neglect and isolate himself completely from everyone. They begin to change his habits. For example, he starts going to cemeteries, or asks to be taken to the morgue, to be with the other dead. He believes he is damned for eternity, and often resorts to self-harming attitudes, and may attempt suicide. The causes of this syndrome are still debated. Who suffers from it typically have other mental disorders, such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and depression. It can also emerge following some neurological diseases, such as epilepsy and dementia, but also after serious trauma, such as a car accident, or after tumors and brain infections. Some studies have instead shown, in patients suffering from Cotard syndrome, a neurological deficit in the recognition of faces. The study authors tried to give this explanation. Damage to the emotional components in the recognition of faces leads to thoughts like this: "This woman looks like my wife, but I don't feel like one." The internal mechanism that is triggered at this point is that of, "Then I am dead." Cotard syndrome is therefore supposed to derive from a pathological interruption of the nerve fibers, which connect the center of emotions to the sensory areas. The lack of emotion thus makes the patient believe that he is dead. This global disconnection of all sensory areas from the limbic system could lead to delusional denial. How is it treated? It is important to assist the sick person and accompany them, as soon as possible, to a specialist doctor. He will then take care of formulating a correct diagnosis and evaluating the necessary drug therapy. The symptoms should never be underestimated, because they are extremely dangerous for the sufferer. The intervention must therefore be timely. In most cases, antidepressants, antipsychotics, and mood stabilizers are given. Psychotherapy sessions can also be used to prevent the disease from worsening. In the most serious cases, some patients have been treated with electroconvulsive therapy, different from the ancient electroshock, and which consists in applying an electric current to the brain for a very short time under general anesthesia. The convulsions that the treatment causes in the patient act on the nervous system, and therefore on the chemistry of the brain. It is not a risk-free practice, but it does have some side effects, such as memory loss, muscle aches, and mental confusion.